I stopped drawing for 8 whole years. 8 whole years. Not because I wanted to, and definitely not because I suddenly started to hate art, but because I paid too much attention to what other people in my life were saying while real life problems came knocking at my door. You know, the ones we call bills. I bet you heard the same thing yourself. You'll never make a living doing art, or art is not a real job. Or something along the lines, that's nice, but what's your real plan? Those words can stick, especially when they come from people close to you and the people you trust. So I packed away my sketchbook and I told myself I'd focus on real life, on studying, working, and being a responsible adult by other people's standards. And for a while, I thought I'd done the right thing. But it's funny how art has a way of following you, even when you're trying to run so far away from it. I'd often find myself doodling in class notes, noticing how light hits a window or how colors mixed on my table instead of paying attention. Even when I wasn't creating, my brain was still searching for the thing. So join me once again on a quest to become a better artist while we talk about what I wish I knew before I quit my art journey. It might help you avoid the same pitfalls. Like I mentioned, I didn't quit because I stopped caring for art. I quit because I stopped believing my interests or passions can be a source of income or a viable career. When everyone around you says something isn't worth it, it's hard not to start agreeing. But what I wish I knew then, what I know now, is that other people's fears aren't facts. When someone says you can't make money with art, they're really saying, I don't know how to, or I'm not making money by enjoying what I do, so you shouldn't either. When they warn you about stability, they're just scared for you, or maybe for themselves. But that doesn't mean you have to build your life around their fears, their beliefs, or their values. The world is different now. There are illustrators, concept artists, YouTube creators, freelancers, indie designers, the list goes on. People who have carved their own path out of creativity. There isn't one right way to be an artist and make a sustainable income anymore. For a long time, I carried so much guilt for quitting. And every time I saw someone else creating, I was envious in a way that I couldn't understand at the time. Envious of their support system, of believing they can and will push through. I'd look at old drawings and think about how much better I could have been by now. How far I could have come, and all the time and practice I've missed. But guilt didn't bring me back to art. It just kept me standing outside the door staring at it. I was fighting the urge to draw for years, thinking of it as a waste of time. I couldn't just take it as a hobby that leads to nowhere. I had to be productive, and as everyone said, drawing pretty pictures isn't productivity. When I finally stopped fighting the urge and started drawing again, with no expectations, I made a promise to myself to never stop as long as it brought me joy, comfort, and peace, even if I never made a penny out of it. I made it a priority to find the time and nurture that tiny spark. I grabbed a pencil to simply see if I still loved it. And of course I did. That love never left. I won't lie though, those first few drawings were rough. They looked like a 2-year-old drew them with their left foot after a hangover. It truly felt like I was starting over from zero. But something interesting happened. Even though the skill had faded, the instinct was still there. Somehow my eyes still noticed shapes, balance, emotion. Things that had matured even while I wasn't drawing. It made me realize while skill can rust, creativity doesn't. It's like a seed, buried but alive. And when you start watering it again, it grows faster than you'd expect. Another thing that held me back before was this crazy obsession with being productive. If I wasn't selling art or sharing it online, it felt pointless. Like I somehow had to justify every mark with some kind of result just to make time for it in my then busy schedule. Even the smallest remarks from other people used to stop me from drawing completely. Realizing that sometimes art isn't supposed to make sense to anyone else, and it's just there to give you a break from being a human trying so hard all the time was the tipping point. You don't need an audience for your art to matter, and you don't even need a reason to create. Sometimes the most important work you'll ever make is the one that no one ever sees. And of course, not everyone will understand that. There will always be people who think art is a waste of time, who ask, why bother? Especially in today's age and time when you can just make a pretty picture by typing 5 words. But the people who think that's art will never truly understand, and there's no point in trying to make them. At the end of the day, those people aren't your audience. The ones who get it, who feel the spark when they see your work, they're out there. They just haven't found you yet. So don't silence yourself before your people can hear you, like I did for so many years. When I came back to art, it was slow. No big announcement, no I'm back post, just me sketching while watching movies. Nobody cared or even knew what I was up to, and that was perfectly fine. Drawing in bed before going to sleep or drawing silly things gave me comfort, even if no one else cared. And somewhere in those small moments, the joy slowly came back. Funny enough, quitting actually taught me what I wanted from art. Because after being away from it for so long, I realized I didn't want to make art just to impress people or to prove I could. I wanted to feel something again. I missed the peace that comes from focusing so hard on a drawing that everything else just fades away. I missed that tiny burst of satisfaction when a line finally lands just right. I missed myself in the process. So now, I don't draw to be successful. I draw to stay connected, to the version of me that still believes in beauty, curiosity, and play. I used to think success in art meant going full-time, selling prints, and being well-known. But I've realized that success is just whatever keeps you creating. You don't have to turn your passion into a career to prove it's real. Your art doesn't have to sustain your income to sustain your soul. You can work at a coffee shop and enjoy your sketchbook evening sessions. You get to define what being an artist means, and that definition can change 100 times as you grow. If I could go back, I'd tell my younger self to stop being so afraid of wasting time. Because time spent creating, even imperfectly, is never wasted. It's something I still struggle to this day. But years spent silencing your creativity, that's the real loss. Over the years, I've learned to forgive myself for that too, for the time away. Maybe I needed those years. Maybe I needed to experience other things to come back with a deeper understanding of why I need to create in the first place. Because now I don't take it for granted. Every time I sit down to draw, it feels like coming home, refilling my battery and connecting me to something very personal. If you've been thinking about quitting, or if you already have, I get it. I've been there. But I hope you listen to what I have to say and still decide to keep art a tiny part of your life and daily routine. We're just humans, and sometimes life asks you to take a break before you can find your rhythm again. You don't have to chase perfection. You don't have to be the same person you were before. You just have to show up as you are with whatever time, energy, and love you have to give. That's enough. And even if you walk away again someday, art will still be waiting. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.